Do you know who created the San Diego Regional African American Chamber of Commerce? Yeah, bet you didn't. Miss Jerry A. Warren understood that community empowerment and economic development go hand in hand. She founded the San Diego Regional African American Chamber of Commerce, creating this permanent institution to champion Black-owned businesses throughout the country. Her vision was long-term, not just opening doors, but building the infrastructure so that future generations of entrepreneurs would have a foundation to stand on. That chamber continues today. Her legacy continues today. This message was brought to you by GODRadio1.com on behalf of Women's History Month.
Good evening. This is John Warren, publisher of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint. What you just heard was a clip from concerning our late publisher, Jerry Warren, as one of the many salutes during Women's Month, Women's History Month, that we are going through in the month of March. And it's always good to have those who come before us remembered. She not only founded the Black Chamber, but she also created the Gold Coast Classic, which ran for a number of years here, almost a decade, bringing Black college football to San Diego, bringing the college recruiters, gospel, the College Expo, the Black College Expo, just 12 different events of great significance for a whole week, which brought over 450 people here every year. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a great time. The legacy continues. She's former co-publisher of The Voice and Viewpoint, responsible for The Voice and Viewpoint, even this day being in our family. Also co-founder of the Eagles Nest Christian Center, a non-denominational church, which I pastor today and co-pastor with her from its creation. And so the legacy goes on. I mean, she did so many things in San Diego. She was a member of the first LEAD class, and now we have the whole LEAD San Diego program, past president of NAACP, past delegate, alternate to the Democratic Convention when Jimmy Carter was president, where she and I met. So we have all of these things happening. Tonight, we have an open mic approach as we go forward with Dr. Thompson, as The Voice and Viewpoint is our, not only the oldest African-American publication here in San Diego, but right now I believe it's close to being the oldest for-profit Black business in San Diego, as others like Ragsdale are gone. And so we're excited in our 66th year that we have tried to keep up with technology. We have put on the internet, if you would like to call in and have a view or conversation with this open mic, we put the number up in advance, 858-251-6111, or you may go to GODRadio1.com. We're on YouTube, and we're reaching out because we believe the slogan that we have, that a people without a voice cannot be heard, and we have a great deal to talk about tonight, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to share the mic with Dr. Leonard Thompson III.
Well, good evening, everyone. So excited to be here with you, Dr. Warren. One of the things that we are very excited about is Women's History Month. Our women are such an integral part of the success that we have in our lives today. Shout out to Dr. Jerry Warren. She showed a tremendous amount in so many of us throughout our career. She was one of those people that literally would take the time to talk to you, and if you had never ever been reprimanded by Dr. Warren, Mrs. Warren, you would have to question yourself, did I get reprimanded or did she love me but also check me? But she was that type. I always used to say that she was the balance, the yin and the yang. I could go talk to Dr. Warren say, bam, bam, boom, and she'll come over here and say, let me rub it. He wasn't wrong, but let me rub it. But she just had that beautiful personality. And what I loved about her was, and can I say this on air, she was no punk. as nice and sweet as she was, don't put her up against the wall, because you're gonna come back and you're gonna say, what happened? And all you're gonna do is say, I thought I had it and I had to look up. But she was a great visionary, and I think that when you have somebody that has vision with a person that also has vision, and they together have purpose, they can continue to establish great things. And so, and during Women's History Month, it is just so integral that we do celebrate women. We as men have to learn to honor our women while we have them and when they're gone, because the bottom line is we are who we are because of great women. You know what I'm saying? And so, Dr. Warren, it is a pleasure to share this mic with you. So much is going on around the country, and I just kind of want to just jump into it. I want to go directly to the war.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I want to go directly to the war first, because there are so many questions that I have, and so many questions that I want to know about, because it just seems like we're at war, but they won't say we're at war. They'll just say that we're having, there's a war in Iran, but they're not saying that we declare war on somebody.
Well, what we have is interesting technicality, because only the Congress can declare war. Trump has initiated certainly a war aggression effort in terms of what he's done to Iran. If that's not war, there's no such thing as war in terms of killing leadership, destruction of infrastructure in the country, joining Israel in this whole assault that's taking place. And today the U.S. Senate voted down an effort to impose a War Powers Act on the president because the kind of stories that we've had since this started on Saturday have been presented in such a way to suggest that this attack was very much necessary in terms of Iran being so close to a nuclear weapon. But we always knew that Israel has always said, with or without America, it would not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Some of us feel that this whole movement was precipitated by Israel, and yet we have this story that we had a perfect window, that the Ayatollah Khomeini and all of those leaders were together in one place. And of course, Israel has Mossad, which is boots on the ground, their version of the CIA, which is in many ways so much more sophisticated beyond what we are, is unbelievable. And so the action certainly did halt a lot, and it's not over yet. And it's been a very interesting result, because at least 8 countries with military bases have been hit by Iran at one time. Some people are surprised that they had the capability, but they were there stockpiling weapons and stalling in their conversations with us. And so we just beat them to the punch on this. It's a mixed bag of reactions, because on the one hand, we all understand the threat that Iran has been. We even go back to before, when Jimmy Carter was president, and they took hostages and held Americans for over a year before they were allowed to be let go. And Iran has been behind Hezbollah and all of the terrorist actions around the planet. They're involved in their hands. They've killed so many Americans in so many ways. And so, as Malcolm X would say, the chickens came home to roost in this case. But as I was listening, and there is supposed to be a vote on this War Powers resolution Thursday in the House, and it is anticipated it will be defeated. And there is a move among members of the House and Senate Republican Party who did not want to clip the president's wings when we were so close to really doing a thorough job here and leave any fragment for them to reconstitute. And so there is a strong feeling that this will be defeated. And in 90 days, if it goes that long, then it'll be a different story. And I'm not quite sure how much of Iran is a country with 90 million people, but the devastation that's being inflicted on it, it will be a very long time, maybe recovering. We also see that while we didn't say we wanted regime change, and they thought that killing Khomeini was going to be the issue, now we see that Khomeini's son is going to take his place as the Ayatollah, and then he has a grandson. And so I mean, unless you can go back and wipe out the next level of leadership, even though we killed 48 of their leaders, all their high command, and the whole thing, they are still launching. We've sunk 9 of their ships, plus we just sunk one of their battleships with a nuclear submarine or a submarine. First time a submarine's been used to sink a ship since World War II. And that action is taking place. The Strait of Hormuz is the next big concern because of the oil freighters, the tankers that move through there, and the ships. And America has assured the insurance companies that insure those tankers that, if necessary, they will be giving naval escorts to get through that strait because that's the way the oil comes out. And there are cargo ships backed up, which are going to impact us because those ships are going to be late getting to places like San Pedro or Baltimore and all of our ports, since probably 90% of commercial freight travels by sea, probably only 10% by air. That which travels by air, things that are perishable like flowers or whatever, and it costs more. And so this is a big thing. The fact of the gas prices, Dr. Thompson, is what get me. They're talking about gas going up to $3 a gallon. That's shucks. I'm paying $5 a gallon already. So at the same time, we're paying an increase. It's a false increase when we've been boasting all this time that, number one, we now produce more oil than ever before. And according to Trump, we are now getting millions of barrels of oil out of Venezuela, which has the largest oil reserve in the world. And so all of this is just a way to further tap the pockets of the American people. And I think that it is a distraction. And I think it's a distraction. You know, historically, whenever things were not well at home, leadership goes to an international crisis, which unites people against whatever is going on, so they get away from here. We still have healthcare crisis. We still have child care. We still have food crisis, insurance crisis. We still have all the crises that we had before. But now, the very dollars that could have solved many of this, that could have kept rural hospitals open and all that, those dollars are going to be siphoned off to this keep the supply going in terms of the war effort. And that's a very significant thing.
Well, Dr. Warren, they have always said that the Republicans' philosophy is if the economy's bad, if things are not going well, the first thing that you do is go to war. Because when you go to war, they say it's good for the economy because they spend a lot of money blowing up things and they need to replace them. And so people go back to work. And the sad thing about it is that you're absolutely right. We are facing a tremendous amount of distractions all around the United States and the world. I personally believe that he got involved with Israel, not because it was the opportune time. I believe that it was because he still has his eyes on Gaza, and he's still going to make a play for Gaza. While we're saying we're stopping Iraq, he's busy making deals for Gaza. And
He's probably already made a deal with Netanyahu for Gaza. And see, Netanyahu needs the bombing because Gaza was dying down. They're now opening up the ports because he got a new war, okay? So he can relax on Gaza. Hezbollah is still trying to come from the north, so they're bombing Lebanon. And as long as Netanyahu has someone to fight on behalf of Israel, it keeps him out of jail since the International Court has a warrant out for his arrest for all of the stuff that he's already done. So like Caesar in ancient times, as long as the Caesar had a state of war going with Rome, he was able to declare martial law and bypass the Senate in terms of running the country. And here's the same situation we have. But I want to give one other example of something that came to mind today. You know, when the Civil War started, Abraham Lincoln fired on Fort Sumter. And what we don't realize is at the time that Lincoln did so, he did not have congressional permission or approval. Okay? So he set the groundwork in many respects for presidents to act until they can get action. Well, we also understand that if Trump had gone to get action, it would have given Iran time to put people underground and do all kinds of preparation. So on the one hand, we understand if we're going to do it and we did it with Israel. That we did it. The tragic part is, so far 6 Americans have lost their lives, and it didn't necessarily have to be. And as the media, especially CNN, they were trying to highlight these people because we celebrate those who give the ultimate gift. And the White House press secretary is condemning the media for talking about the dead because it makes the president look bad. And then I'm saying, well, wait, this is not about him. This is about honoring those people who gave it all. As you know, the old slogan is some gave all gave some, but some gave all. And these 6 gave all in terms of what happened.
And Dr. Warren, one of the things that does trouble me is I consider to be the scripted rhetoric that comes on consistently going back to celebrating Trump and that he is so wonderful and he is so marvelous. And the thing that struggles with is that, there should be some decorum, some diplomacy of how we go about things. If you do something to us, we will do things to you and we will hunt you down and kill you. Not we will eliminate you, not we will take away the threat, but we will kill you. You all came for Donald Trump. You missed. We didn't. Aha, we got you. Game on. We won. All that little boastful bragging by supposed to be the Secretary of Defense is just unnecessary, inappropriate. And I think that when you get up there and then you say, well, we lost some people and our hearts go out to the family, but we will let you know we will lose more people. So you're telling people, look, more folks going to die based on this action. And my whole thing is, what comfort do you really truly give to families and to the community and to the nation? Because, again, it just seems like they're setting us up for sleeper cells and all the internal things that are already here in the United States to begin to affect the homeland based on the arrogance and the rhetoric that they do. And here's the thing. The arrogance in the rhetoric not only comes from the White House, the top dog, but all throughout his cabinet. I have never met so many rude and obnoxious and I call them little Eddie Haskells for those that understand that. This little people that just is nasty for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to understand that all of these people are a part of the MO. Kristi Noem, Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, Bondi, the attorney general, Lou Dombrowski, who is traveling with Kristi Noem, who's crazy. All of these people come from a piece of cloth that says that now that I'm under the Trump protection, in effect, F the rest of you, we're going to do what we want to, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because he's already put people in every major position that would be doing something, and he's controlling the Supreme Court, unfortunately. He's controlling the Senate and the Congress because they won't do nothing against him. And if he's controlling them, you can't impeach him or his cabinet members. What are you going to do? You can't lock them up. The only thing that's holding the American people's interest is the Epstein issue and the fact that there were women involved, and they are not letting it go because they keep finding more and more wealthy people who were in on it and knew about it and participated. And that's the ultimate thing. If it wasn't for the Epstein situation, and I believe time will show that Epstein did not commit suicide. With all that we see, he was probably murdered in his cell and made to look like a suicide, and we're going to get around to that one eventually.
Well, since we're celebrating Women's History Month, I think that is just a tragedy that in today's society, we're still having the Epstein file being an issue in everything that comes out. You got big major presidents of organizations resigning because they've been associated with the files. And so for our president and everybody else who went to Epstein Island and everything else of that nature, it was like Gilligan's Island. They said they wanted to leave, but they kept on staying and coming back. You know what I'm saying? And so where Donald Trump, he literally has, I call him Donald Trump and the hit girls. You know what I'm saying? He got these little women that are coming that, quote unquote, might be somewhat attractive and everything, and they're just his hit people. The Amazon women, the women that we're going to protect the president at all costs, not realizing that all you have to do is one thing wrong, or he's going to look at his cabinet and determine who's got to be expendable, who's got to fall on the sword, but he's not going to fall on the sword, and he's only going to stay with you as long as he don't have to defend anything.
But Dr. Thompson, people who function like him and have their groupies, the groupies want to die for the leader. Remember Charles Manson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that crazy chick in his group that killed people for him and just got out of jail after 30 years or whatever. I mean, these people, when they drink the Kool-Aid, they are all in.
Yeah.
And they rarely turn around, wake up, or come out.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have happening here in this situation. But what they don't understand is it's going to come to an end. Well, if we're going to talk about that, let's look at last night. Yesterday, we had primaries in North Carolina, Arkansas, and Texas. We were very concerned about Texas because Texas was a state that changed their geographics, gerrymandered so that they could try to get 5 more Republican votes. The change impacted Jasmine Crockett's district, and she ran for the Senate and lost to Lar Farrow. And it also affected Al Green's district, who is now in a runoff for May 26, and the new boundaries that he has. And we don't know whether or not he'll win. But the other significant thing out of Texas is that the governor won his primary, so he's going to be on the ballot against whoever is running. And it is a strong expectation, like they said, that Texas has not had that kind of democratic control in, I think, over 38 years. It's been because people in Texas, they have wealth, they're conservative, number one, and I think that the Latino vote is going to turn out to be one of the main factors that helped defeat Jasmine Crockett. You could see that Jasmine was going to lose, and I'm going to tell you why I think it happened. Jasmine was outspoken in her battle against Trump at every turn. Well, she should have learned something from Stacey Abrams' run for governor in Georgia, that while people want you to be about a campaign against identified evil, they also want to know that you are about bringing solutions to their situation and bringing them results. And the people in Austin at the university, if you saw the lines that extended for blocks where people waited hours to vote, there was a snafu with polling, and a judge had to extend the hours for that. So the important thing is that Crockett didn't cry sour. She conceded and asked the party to rally. So I'm sure she had a plan B because now she's out of the Congress. But if the people who were running are successful and we add those numbers, that will help the House even though her seat might be lost. North Carolina, Roy Cooper, past governor, won easily, never lost a race, is going to be the man going after that Republican Senate seat, and he will have, everybody's going to be looking at it because if he wins, it can help change the Senate. We're just a few votes from altering the Senate, and we're not many votes from changing the House. That's why here in California, San Diego, we're one of the areas under Prop 50, where the boundaries were withdrawn for East County. And Darrell Issa is now going to have to face, it looks like, Marnie Wolfall, who is running for Congress. And that's one of those seats that if it can be flipped, because California has 52 congressional seats, 12 of them were Republican. And there are at least 4 or 5 that we can flip that can help make the difference in terms of taking control of the House. Once we have control of the House, and it looks like we might get control of the Senate. This is Women History Month. There are 8 women running for the U.S. Senate. That is significant. Right now, I think there are 2 women in the Senate, but there are 8 running in different places, and they're going to surface in the primaries. And all we need is 2 or 3 of them to win on top of the changes that are coming. Once we've got the Senate and the House, that's the end of much of the Trump era. Unfortunately, it's going to take us a long time to rebuild.
Yeah. And one of the things about it is that I'm going to say this. I've been saying this consistently. Game on. We cannot be quiet. We cannot be stale. We cannot be docile at this point. We have to launch a campaign of one, get out to vote, register to vote, and engage the vote. And this is the message that we have to continue to push. That I'm not saying that I'm Democrat or Republican or independent. I am for people that are going to do right by the people of the United States. And if you're a Republican that's going to do right, so be it. If you're a Democrat that's going to do right, so be it. But don't take our vote for granted. And this is the reason people take our vote for granted, because we have become docile and lazy about how we have gone about using our vote to let them know how we truly feel. Staying at home, and I want to say this, Doc, staying at home and saying my vote don't really matter, you done already gave up and you done let that aside with.
Well, since you raised that point, Dr. Thompson, let's look at something. And you and I here, we represent black media. Mm-hmm. And I say black in terms instead of African American, because there are African people among us mm-hmm. who are not Americans, who are immigrants, but who still count. And a lot of those people have been programmed coming into the country to stay away from the black community, to not interact with us. And so often when we reach out for them, they shy away. And that's unfortunate, because they shouldn't. And so that's a problem. And then we have people that we know in the community who have put their own personal need to be recognized and stroked above doing what they can for the collective, which is the rest of us that are all in the same barrel together. And so that complicates what you and I are trying to do. Mm-hmm. And these are people who are spending $2 trillion a year, I'm going to keep on it, with the very people who are not doing business with us. And the fact that they don't do business with us hinders us from hiring more of our people and expanding our coverage and doing all the things we should be doing when we are, in effect, the last trusted messenger in America, because the black press, whether it be electronic or print, still covers all those issues that otherwise would be left out.
Well, can I jump in and say,
yeah.
And at the same point, we are not only trusted messengers, but we are still accessible to the common man. Your concerns can be listed in the newspaper every week by just writing to the desk of the editor and putting your thoughts in and getting yourself published. Your voice can be heard by literally coming on to these shows and giving and asking questions and challenging things. We give you access, and trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it could be internet, it could be local newspaper, it could be black-owned newspaper. People are paying attention. GOD radio is heard in 71 countries all over the world. People say, how do you guys win the Stella Award? Because we're just not just locally based. We are international, so we have the effect. And the same thing happens with the newspaper. But watch this, and I want y'all to really pay attention to it. The newspaper is not only heard and read in the White House, it's also read in the jailhouse. It's read in different nations and different countries, and they're literally using it as an educational piece for what is going on, quote unquote, in America, but also in Black America. And then think about this: from the desk of the editor, from the editorial in the Voice and Viewpoint, every single week, over 200 papers carry the editorial that we have based out of San Diego, because it is impacting the world with the knowledge that, hey, we are free thinkers, but we're fair in our account.
And we are, people think that we got the greatest thing going here because we are outspoken and we seek to cover and reach out to all the things that are happening. Mm-hmm. And so these are important times and important elements. Mm-hmm. Right now, as of this week, we will probably be about 90 days away from the California primary.
Yes.
As of this Friday, that will be the last day that those people who are running and have decided they can't make it can pull out of the race so that their names won't be on the ballot. Mm-hmm. One of the fears that the Democratic Party has in the state is that if we have a plethora of Democrats running, that will dilute our vote and open a chance for a Republican to step in and get elected. And it's significant because in California, there are more independent voters than there are Republicans, but there are also so many Democrats who are now voting like independent because people are so frustrated with the Democratic Party that won't change, won't update, keeps trying to do business in the same old way, rehashing and recycling the same old people and everything, when now is the chance to step up and put up and get involved so that we can have a difference in terms of what's going on. So these are the challenges that we have, and they're real.
And so as we begin to prepare not only for weathering the war and the war that we're in, again, when you go to war, there are going to be things that are going to be lacking. There's going to be things that we're not going to see. There's going to become some uncomfortable time. We're going to challenge you all to read, to listen, to educate yourself on what is truly taking place, number one. Number two is we're now needing you to engage, not just engage in the national election, but literally engaging on every level of the election, be it your local, be it your state, and then the national, because the local is going to be affecting the state and the state is going to be affecting the national. We have to get busy and we have to really understand things. Here's the thing that really bothers me is with Black Men and Women United, there was a question asked on the thing about cannabis and what was going on with the cannabis arena here in San Diego, because we see that they got sessions over in this place and all this other stuff, and there's a lot of money that's coming in. Now, I'm not a cannabis supporter or thing, but the question was asked, right? And even in that, it was, I'll get back to you. But then on yesterday, there was a whole presentation at council, and nobody was ever got back to the people that asked the question. And I asked the question over again, if it was today or yesterday. The question is, why is it that people want to make us the last to know? Because there's a fear that if we do know, if we do engage, if we do have some heads up, that we can really truly affect change.
Well, people, first of all, if people don't have political respect for you, then they don't have respect for you. Mm-hmm. And when you don't vote, and all you do is holler and scream and woof at folks, but you won't invest your time in deciding other than following the crowd how to vote, then you lose the respect. And see, the other mistake that we make as a people, that when folks come out and say they're running, we jump on the bandwagon immediately. Well, once they got us committed, they don't have to come back and give us anything.
Exactly.
But the people who hold out, they're the ones that get the commitments and the promises and everything, because they know they got to give something to get something. And so we just, take it and that's it. We don't make any demands for what's going on.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I heard that a person that's running for governor, the rich guy,
Steiger.
Yeah. I heard that he tried to come into the city and buy space and vote and everything else of that nature, and it just seemed like it fell on deaf ears. Explain that one to me.
Well, the last time Tom Steiger ran, and he's a billionaire, he had a lot of money. He came here. BayPac was operating under different leadership, and he went to them and gave a sum of money with the understanding that he was buying the black vote. When election day came, this people that he gave this money to was not prepared to deliver results. They gave some money to a particular person who will not be named, so I can't be sued. And then this person went out giving money to people to go to the polls. Well, that is about as illegal as you can get. That's why historically in many places, liquor stores were closed on election day so that people couldn't be bribed with a half a pint and $5 to go cast a vote. Okay, and so after it was over, this particular group of people, I'm not going to say organization, I'm going to say group of people, they had to return that money because they didn't spend it. And they didn't offer to run not one ad with us or the other paper that was here at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make any effort to do that
Mm-hmm.
because for some reason these folks think that they can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's significant about that style of politics, Dr. Thompson, is that in past elections, people brought money in to the Latino community, the Asian community. They set up offices for voter education to get people out.
Mm-hmm.
But they never gave money, other than I think during the Obama era campaigns, they never gave money to help us get black folks to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Latinos are turning out to vote, and they charted how many are turning of age to vote and are registering to vote because they value the vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's remember something else about the Latino community. The Latino community has people who have come here, and let's say those who've come legally, they've been here long enough to want citizenship. If you look at Uniworld or Univision at some of the Latino television networks, you will find, or you used to find, commercials for citizenship kits.
Mm-hmm.
And a citizenship kit contained in English and Spanish, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all the things that we, born here in this country, never see, not taught to us in school and civics because they don't want you to be educated. And when they go and hold up their hand, they know what they're doing, and when the chance comes to vote, they're excited about it because maybe they couldn't vote where they came from. And so we become a diminishing element when we were the ones who were responsible for the fight to get the Voting Rights Act in 1965.
So let me ask you a question, Dr. Warren, and maybe it's just me, but as a parent, I always wanted my child to have it easier. And so some of the struggles and the things that I had to go through to get where I was at, I tried to make sure that my child didn't have those same struggles. But what I found out is that by taking away the struggles and providing as much as I could provide for my child, I took away the hustle and the grind. And so then when you expect certain things, it doesn't come out because you basically clip their wings because they didn't have to go through anything to get it. My question is, have we as African Americans gotten too comfortable that our hustle and our grind is diminished?
Of course we have, Dr. Thompson. And the generation behind us is a perfect example. You know, I grew up with my parents and my sisters, the six of us in a one-bedroom apartment with no radio, with radio, I think, but no television, no telephone. And we had to find our own little corner and amuse ourselves if we were, because we weren't allowed to go outside and get hooked up with all the other people out there who ended up going to jail, but we were inside anyhow. And so we make it easy. My kids grew up with the television in the room and the telephone and all kinds of services and elements, you know, and we thought we were doing them a favor. But a lot of them don't have any hustle and still. You got people who are grown who are living at home, sleeping late, doing nothing while their parents go to work. I blame the parents for that.
Well, and that's the thing, and we as parents have to take those responsibilities. The one thing I think that I'm very, very blessed to know is that it might not have came at the certain time frame that I might want my child to receive it, but everything that was instilled in her as a child, I look at her now, and I'm like, oh, her hustle's on, lit. She got a full-on hustle. She knows what she's doing, and it's all back to what's instilled in her, and she had to watch her parents do what they do. Why I ask that question is because when we talk about the Latino population, and one of the things that I've noticed about them is their hustle is real. And when I tell you their hustle is real, we talk about during the pandemic, not one taco shop shut down. You know what I'm saying?
Not.
But here's the thing that is amazing me about their hustle. I go into communities and I see full-on restaurants on the corner street with lines down the street. And I'm like, how do they get the permit? How do they get this? How do they make Board of Health and everything else? Lines.
Yeah, but they don't see that. That's not always that way, Dr. Thompson, because what you've noticed is most of them have those food trucks.
Yeah.
And they find a place where they can rent the space on an existing business parking lot. And that becomes their base. They set up the tent, the tables, and they come every day, and they don't have any heavy overhead and all of the other stuff. And they're already grandfathered in with the health inspectors because of the requirements for the food truck.
Yeah.
So that's how they get away. And people eat with them because people like to eat with their own. Like you say, you've never seen a taco shop go out of business. If anything, you see them on the corner, and all of them got their own clientele. But we have a few restaurants or carryouts left. But one of our problems is that once our people get them, the price is so high and the quantity is so low that people don't go back to them.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. There's a question that came up said, so Dr. Warren, is it legal for them to set up on corners and do the whole distribution? Because it's not, then there's no food trucks. I mean, it's literally, they done put out tables, tents, they done strung up lights, got generators, and they're literally selling. I would say you see that at the trolley, at Market and Euclid, and also at the medical center at Euclid and Federal.
Well, let me say two things in answer to the question. First of all, the patrolling of that from a health standpoint is done by the county. The cities do not have any health department oversight responsibility.
Okay.
And a lot of these people do the numbers game. They figure I will make as much as I can while I'm here, and when they come for me, I'll move to another location. Now, one of the clear examples of what you just mentioned is when you come off 805 at South 43rd Street, okay, and you come down and turn around, there's a little flower stand that's been there for the past 30 years. I don't know if they have a permit or not, but the truck is there every day selling fresh flowers, and it never goes away. So I'm sure somebody got a license or permit or whatever that was involved. You know, over in Logan Heights, there was a place called Cuatros Milpas, the Four Corners, and it's been there since 1933. Their great-grandparents started it. And if you drove by there down Logan until the latter part of last year, if it was open, there was a line down the sidewalk.
Yes.
Well, they ran into a health inspector problem a few months ago, and the place got closed down. They found feces and insects and stuff in there, and it got closed. They hadn't paid some taxes to the state. That got to be a factor, and they were like second-generation adult children still running the place.
I think it was third.
Third generation, cash only, okay? They ain't take no credit cards. Well, guess what? Then it's been closed, and all of a sudden I find that they done found a new location. They sold that land where the building was. They sold it for $2.4 million. They found a new location. They're going to take credit cards. They're upgrading their menu and everything. And people are going to go to the new place because they're going to keep the same principle of how they prepared the food. And people are going to still go there because it's one of the few places you can still get original Mexican tamale, tacos, whatever it is, chorizos. You can all get all of that stuff. And in the morning, there's a huge line for chorizos.
Yeah. And watch this. And one of their biggest business is people that's buying the tortillas.
Yes.
And they sell that. That's a big business for them.
It's like a tortilla factory.
Yeah.
They sell the tortillas in stacks, and there are several places that produce their own tortillas like that because the tortilla is so important. We just see the tortilla when we buy the little taco, and we see it wrapped in tortilla. But I remember that the tortilla initially was something that was made the way it was. They cooked the beans. They spooned the beans in it, and they rolled it.
Yes.
Okay? And that was a meal in itself. Now, along with that tortilla, I was just telling someone today who had been traveling many years, about 55 years ago when I was traveling through Mexico, I was in a place where I got to know a family, and I got to be close friends the days I stayed with them, with the mother, and so I was interested in learning how to cook. And I got in the kitchen with her, and she showed me how to take the corn husks and to make the tamales and to roll it and to do all of that in terms of cooking stuff. And so I fell in love with that, the enchiladas. I knew how to do all of this, still know how to cook all of this stuff. And so when you look at it, those were easy meals that didn't cost a lot, but the tortilla was the base of all of that. Okay, and so now you can find tortillas in the store, packaged. But people say, why should I buy the one that's packaged when I can go over here where they're making it fresh, and they sell it by the stacks in terms of it, and you get small ones or large ones depending on what you're going to use it. If you're going to get a burrito, you're going to get a larger one. Matter of fact, if you go to Chipotle, you can get your stuff rolled in like that. They can fix one for you.
Yeah. Well, here's the one thing that I think that's very important, that this business, not only did I go there and was known there, I actually did some research. I did some stories on them, because they said almost every president in the United States had stopped there and had a meal there. But one of the things that they shared is that and growing up, is that even when you did not have money and the kids would come from school, they could literally go there and still get a meal, because they would never let anybody go hungry. And this is what I really love: family business. But the cashier was one of the oldest aunties. She's
the oldest sister.
And she was right there,
all the
and
time.
She handled the money.
Yes, she did.
And, she didn't speak English at all, but she could count that money.
And she knew what everything cost when you put it there, and they told her what it was. That's what she rung up.
And what I'm saying is that although she was older, although she has to sit in a stool, they found a position for her that kept her viable in the business. And now that they sold they literally sold the building and is able to pay all the things that need to be paid. Now they're coming with a new restaurant, and it's going to have the same food with more technology.
Well, she might still be on the cash register, because it's not just finding a place for her. I think she was a position, because some of the younger women, we say younger, even they were in their 40s or whatever, but they all were respectful toward her.
Yes.
And they all worked hard as if it was a job. You didn't see anybody acting like, because I'm family, I can slide.
Exactly.
Okay, and so we don't have businesses, but
I do want to say something about that, Dr. Warren. There is one business that I can testify that operates like is a family-owned business led by one of the family members, and that is Surf and Soul. Surf and Soul, and the reason why I call them out is because it's a family business. Not only do they employ family members, they employ church members, but their philosophy towards business is different, and it has made them successful. One, they give you food, and you always can have seconds, because there's too much to eat in one sitting.
Right.
Number one. Number two is their philosophy is we're open until we sell.
And when we sell out, we close.
And every day, They sell out.
And it's probably the same principle with Cuatro's Meal Place, because every day they're open from 7 to 3, and when they sold out, it's gone.
Wait, watch this. But are they open on Sunday?
No.
And hello, this is the thing. They have been there for years and not open on Sunday.
No.
Surf and Soul, not open on Sunday, because they're going to give God his due.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the thing.
And they own the building, and now that you mention it, 2 doors from Cuatro's Meal Place is the church.
Yep.
And I found out they own the church building as well. So that was probably in the package that they sold.
Exactly.
So they're good. Now, the reason, folks, I know we took a lot of time with this, and you could say, well, we didn't tune in to hear you talk about that. But, it's never too late to consider family business, but you have to look at what it is and how you do it. My family approached the Voice and Viewpoint as a business, and everybody in the family had a position. And not only did we do Voice and Viewpoint, but my late wife found businesses for members of the family. We created the Survival Bag business, which was to be run by one of our kids with an uncle. We created the Gold Coast, which was handled by another one who was good with numbers and making arrangements. We had the Black Chamber, where Chida was at one point the executive director of the chamber before her mother died, and then she became co-publisher for a period with the paper. But in each instance, there were people who had functions and a division of what happened. Shawanda did production, and Jerry, and they trained each other. I stayed off the carpet away from production. My job was administrative. Now my son, who did not play any role in the business in those days, has come full circle back to the business in terms of his time and his interests. And you can find him out in the community covering stories, and people ask who is he. And when he says he's my son, first thing people tell him is, well, I didn't know Dr. Warren had a son, but my son has a heart for the business. He has wisdom, he has insight, and he has a profession himself. He is a certified OSHA safety coordinator. They can go anywhere and work anytime at great demand. But again, there were certain principles that were instilled from watching us work. And so it's not too late, folks, for us to understand that we make choices. People get off the boat, or they used to before Trump, every day with 2 chopsticks and a rice bowl in their back pocket. And in 5 years, they got a couple of Mercedes and houses and the whole bit because they understood deferred gratification. And they set their money aside to get what they needed, and then they moved out from there. If we stay away from all of the stuff that we waste money on, from the liquor stores and the cigarettes and the fast food, we give ourselves a pay and a health raise. I'm going to keep saying it every week.
Yeah. And Dr. Warren, I want to say this, and this is something that I'm a big proponent. We are a family-owned business here. But one thing that I realize is that nepotism does not work.
No.
Because if you have nepotism and you put people in a position that really don't want to be there or don't want to work, then your business is a dying business. I tell people, put your best players on the field, because as your legacy after you are gone, you want the business and your legacy to continue on. And so here at Mandate Records, GOD Radio, all the things that we're doing, we're talking about who are the best players on the field. You know, and let's put them on there, and we operate, and this is what I like about the business with Voice of People. We operate like family, even if we're not blood family, because we see the future of what we're doing, because we are in a service business. We are here to serve the public and give the message and be a trusted messenger. And so I'm encouraging people, and listen to this, I'm going to talk about opportunity. A lot of people say, well, what about opportunity? What about this? What about this? I'm encouraging you. Link up with something that, 1, has a legacy, 2, that has longevity, and 2, will continue on and will need leadership. Link up, put in the work, see the vision, and let it become a part of you. When you have the power of the pen and you're able to write the story, you have the power of the airways. Those are the things that will make difference and will make a change.
Well, you know what? I know we don't have much time, but, you know, we also had a business in South Central Florida. And one of the things I learned one day, I was going down the road and I saw a saddle shop, and I stopped and I went in because we had a saddle maker here who died a few years ago, and that is a dying art in itself. And as you know, I had a number of horses, so I was big into saddles. And so while I'm talking to this man, I see this young Mexican guy that's just working his butt off back there. And so I asked, I said, well, what's his story? And here's what the man tells me. He says, oh, he came to me about 4 years ago saying that he would work for something to eat. And he said, and I fed him, and he stayed, and he took an interest, and he ended up wanting to learn the business. He says, and I don't have any children or anyone to pass the business on to, and I'm going to give this business to him because he's learned it now. And he's learned something that's a dying art, because you might not know this, most people don't, but if you're in a saddle making business, you could make maybe 5 or 6 saddles a year and be straight because of how much it costs to make one, from the size and the leather and the whole things that go with it, you know. So the moral to that story is sometimes you find an existing business, it used to be older people had run it, and they were ready to leave, they didn't have anyone to take it, but there was somebody who worked there. It's not how much you know about a business. Most people are not looking for the smartest folks in the world. They're looking for people that have a fire in the gut and a desire to work and to learn. And if you bring eagerness and humility to it, the doors that can be opened for you are just endless in terms of what can happen.
And I always believe in not reinventing the wheel. And Dr. Warren, I'm just going to tell you the truth. You came up with a new position called the Ambassador of First Impressions. I got a whole job description for Ambassador for First Impression, and my Ambassador for First Impressions started this week.
All right.
And I am excited about this young person, and I believe that God is going to do some great works because of how she comes in, her energy, and what is literally that first impression. I walked through the door today after coming back from a meeting, and I walked in and I heard, "Good afternoon, Dr. Thompson." I was like, "Well, hello." It was just refreshing, but it brought energy to the building. And
well,
I thank
that's
you for
important that you said it, because the person that worked for me that came up with that title was hired as a receptionist. And she redefined it as the First Impressions, Director of First Impressions. And the person who comes through the door, the one they meet, they give the first impressions of the business.
Yes.
And it's always the case. It's not that your business is different from the business across the street or down the street, but it's how people feel when they come to you.
Exactly.
And that's been one of the reasons that, for the most part, I stayed away from the front and from the desk, because I don't want to spoil that ambiance in terms of what kind of day I might be having,
Exactly. And really the thing about it is that we're doing the work, and we need people that will be there and have our back. I'm so excited about the young people that are coming aboard and their energy, their respect. And the funny thing about it, it's easy to teach. It is easy to give when you feel like you're not watching your back, but you're watching the growth.
Well, let's say this too in closing, Dr. Thompson, because sometimes we spend a lot of time talking about what people aren't doing. But at the same time, there are some really good people out there. We just hired an outstanding person who has come on board and just learned. We just have people now that are working in different states, one in Oklahoma, Florida, and different places, that have been in our office but have maintained a relationship because they were committed to the vision and like what we're doing and what they learned from being with us. And so we are passing it on. We are opening doors. And this is what encourages us going forward.
Yes.
And I'm excited about what we're doing. And I'm excited about our managing editor, who's done such an outstanding job of selecting and training people and setting up systems. And LaTanya has just been phenomenal in terms of her work ethic and her professionalism and attitude, which has spilled over to the kind of people that we select and hire.
And Dr. Warren, in closing, now, I'm going to say this, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Biscuits, Grits, and Politics is going to come back.
Oh, it's coming back.
And when it comes back, y'all better get ready, because we're going to sell out of every one of them. And so I just want you guys to know, stay tuned. Biscuits, Grits, and Politics is coming back. We're excited about it. Dr. Warren, final words.
It's not only coming back, we are planning it right now, and we're not planning one. We're planning a series for the rest of the year. Where they're going to be held, it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be well-financed, it's going to be special, it's going to be streamed, it's going to be all of these things that people are going to really want. And we're going to be on the lookout for the imitators, because they tried that once before.
Yeah.
But we got it. We're hooking it up, folks.
Yes. With that being said, this is from the desk of the editor. You all have a blessed night. Stay safe out there. Stay prayerful. God bless.